Hello, everyone. My name is Armin Navabi. We are live here on my personal channel. A lot of you come here from the Atheist Republic channel, but here on this channel, we talk about something completely different. However, I see people in the live chat. This is going to be a conversation, not just me talking. So let me know if you have liked the stream, and also let me know if you have my audio. I need you guys to like the stream so that more people end up watching this, because the conversations that we have on this channel are, in my opinion, the most important conversations that anybody could be having anywhere. And I really believe that this is nothing, no other conversation is more important than the things that we are discussing in this channel. The world is about to change. We are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution, and this means the changing of everything, a new world order, the way that we do economics, finance, culture, our own personal lives. Everything is going to change much faster than most people are ready for. We're going to see post-labor, post scarcity, post death, post disease, post war, post everything, post the way that we live our lives. And again, this has already happened in the past 200 years. This has happened multiple times. So this is not something that is that's strange. However, because this has been the dramatic changes that has been happening in the past 200 years versus the 10,000 years of civilization, that things were mostly the same. In the past 200 years, things have been changing fast, but because we live only 70 to 80 years and the changes are over, multiple generations, we don't see the dramatic changes that has already been happening. But the changes that are about to come, because they're much shorter than one human lifespan, they're much shorter than 70 or 80 years, it's going to be shocking. And because people get used to the way things are, no matter how much evidence you show them that things are going to change dramatically, they cannot believe it, because they are just used to things operating the way that they already have been. However, in the previous streams, we have shown you some evidence that these changes are coming, and they're coming very fast. This channel is not just about things that are about to change, but it's also about actionable advice and how to get ready for it and what to do and how to prepare ourselves and what are the best advice. And honestly, the best advice is not even the advice that are given by humans. We have already, even though the AI today is nothing remotely close to how advanced is going to be AI in the near future, we have already gotten to a point where, with regards to advice and how to live our lives and how to get ready for the major shifts in society that is about to come, they're already they've already reached a point where you could get a lot out of them. And again, I have to emphasize, like, because a lot of times when we talk about artificial intelligence and the advancements that we're seeing, a lot of people are saying, like, no, this is an exaggeration because AI can't do this today. And they don't realize that we're not talking about today, we're talking about what is about to come. AI today still has a lot of limitations. Again, today we're going to talk about what we can do with AI today, what we even with the current limitations. But please understand that we are at the amoeba level of AI, like the AI that we used to have for many years. Right now, the AI that told you what to watch on Netflix, filled your Facebook feed or YouTube feed, or I don't know, people who use in finance, the AI that people use in finance and stuff like that. That was at the bacteria level AI, and the AI that we have today is at the amoeba level AI. And pretty soon we are going to get to the dinosaur level AI, and it's going to the AI that we have today is going to look ridiculous compared to the AI that we're going to get very soon. However, even with the AI today, there are things that you could do with it that will basically give you a leverage that most people don't have, because they just refuse to use AI. First of all, let me ask you guys in the chat, how many of you are using AI? By the way, let me actually remind people that Lily is here and highlighting people's comments. And Lily, thank you so much for your service. Also, Lily, if you ever have, if whoever's highlighting the comments, and Lily today, if you want to highlight your own comments. Like you could leave a comment and highlight it or star it. By the way, feel free to highlight and star, not just star. Like for example, you could highlight it so people could read this and then star it. So if you highlight it, it would just show up on the screen. But also if you star it, then I will eventually at some point will read it. For example, let me see what this comment. Lily has starred this comment, so let me read it. Amakai is saying, "Tell us the truth. It was the AI and Skynet that caused the explosions in Iraq." Okay, so yeah, okay, that's a joke. But let's yeah, okay, that's okay. I get it. But let's get serious right now because this is a very important conversation. So, guys, in the chat, people, are you guys using AI? So Vic is saying me increasingly. Are you using I use ChatGPT almost daily, working on some projects with it. Okay, good. Jack is saying I use AI every day to talk about politics and economics and philosophy and find news sources. Okay, good. So a lot of people in the chat are using AI. I'm going to give you three levels of using AI. The level one is the way most people are using it. This thing I haven't used it. I haven't used any of it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you three levels. And most people so many people are at level zero. Many people who are not using it at all. Most people are using it are at level one. And the levels 2 and level 3 are the levels that most people are not at that level. And I'm going to teach you that. And it's going to change your life. First of all, please understand that if you are not using AI, or if you're using AI at level 1, that most people are using, you are going to be behind, right? You are very behind. And there is no advice more important than the advice that I'm going to give you today, regardless of who you are and what your goal is. So some people might think that I am going to give advice today that it's for experts, or maybe people that are good with technology, that maybe basic people, or maybe at some people who are advanced and use AI daily. They might think like the advice that I'm going to give today is for people who just maybe don't understand AI or haven't used AI. Or some people who are at the basic level might think that I'm going to give advice today that is only for advanced level people. But no, what I'm talking about today is for everybody. Regardless if you're like maybe a billionaire in the tech industry in San Francisco, or if you are a teenage girl in a village in Kenya that is far away from the major city, but your village has you at least have a phone that is connected to the internet. Okay, as long as you have a smartphone that is connected to, or any device that can run any of the AI, can basically download or use ChatGPT. This will apply to you, and this will be useful for you. Okay, very useful. The level 1 that I'm going to mention is just going to be for people who don't use it at all. But then we're going to go to level 2 and level 3, and then most of you are going to realize that I'm giving you advice that you probably haven't heard anywhere else, and you are going to be convinced that this was life-changing advice. All right. So, first of all, this is very simple. I'm going to make it very, very simple. So, even if you haven't used any of this, it's going to be very easy to understand. Okay. Even though it's going to be useful for even technical people. First of all, the main AI models people are using is Claude, Grok, Gemini, and ChatGPT, right? So, unless you're a programmer, you could forget about Claude. Okay. When it comes to these three models, and I know DeepSeek and stuff like that, but we're going to focus on these three because one of them is only going to be useful for the purposes of level 2 and level 3. And again, guys, this is, I will tell you why this is so important. Because every single one of you right now with a smartphone in your hand, you have basically access to an advisor that is an expert in everything. Today, even with the level of AI that we have right now, even before we get any more advancement in an AI, the level of expertise that is accessible to every single one of you, because I can see you have the internet because you're listening to me, okay, is more than billionaires had access to just a few months ago. And do you understand how empowering this is for everyone in the world? Do you understand the difference between success and failure is basically the right advice, the right consultation, the right people to know to tell you what to do next. That is the main difference between success and failure in everything. And we just, especially with the new reasoning models, we basically gave everyone in the world with access to internet advisors, a specific an advisors that is PhD level expert both in knowledge and reasoning, not just knowledge, in knowledge and reasoning in every single subject. That is an impressive change that more people need to talk about. In your pocket. The fact that more people are not taking advantage of that is insane. These things, is it reliable? I will tell you. I will tell you how on level 2 and 3 you will make it reliable using the method. Like if you say, hey, AI, what should I do? That answer is not reliable today. We haven't gotten to the AI. So D is asking a very good question. Is it reliable? No, not unless you use the methods that I'm going to be telling you today. If you just say, hey, AI, what should I do here? That answer is absolutely not reliable with the level of AI that we have today, unless you follow my steps. All right, let's get back to the basics now. Let's get back to the basics. So we have Gemini, Grok, and ChatGPT. I use all three of them, but for the purposes of what I'm going to tell you today, the deep research and O3 models of ChatGPT is what we need. ChatGPT is what we need. Okay. So the reason why I still use Grok and Gemini, Gemini honestly is getting very, very advanced. Gemini, so ChatGPT is by OpenAI, Gemini is by Google, and Grok is by Grok AI from Elon Musk. Okay. The reason why I use all three of them, even though Gemini is very, very advanced, but it's very woke and very sensorial. So it makes it useless for many things. But the reason why I use Gemini, even though it's very advanced, it's like actually more advanced than ChatGPT in some things, in certain ways. The reason why I use it, even though it's very sensorial and very woke, is that it has a very large context window. So sometimes when I want to go over very big files, I have to use Gemini. I cannot use ChatGPT, right? The reason why I use Grok is because Grok is the opposite of Gemini. Grok has very little sensor, is the least woke. Basically, it tells you things that other modules won't tell you. If censorship and wokeness is an issue for you, Grok is the best model to use. However, when it comes to reasoning, the O3 model of ChatGPT, nothing has been giving me better results than that for what I'm telling you, what I'm going to be telling you to do. But for people who don't use AI at all, let's start with the basics, okay? So you install ChatGPT as an app on your phone, or you just go to the website on your desktop, or you install the app on your desktop. For people who don't use it at all, just start using the main model that they have. Don't go to O3 for many things. I will tell you, it's not just, I know a lot of people use it for fun, image generation, philosophizing, consulting, basically going over certain ideas, copywriting. Okay. But let me actually show you. Okay. But let me actually tell you at level 1. Again, level 1 is not the point of this stream. Level 2 and 3 are. Okay. But let's just get you using AI before we get to level 2 and level 3. Right. So if you use ChatGPT without changing the model, it's going to use the 4.0 model. And for many things, the 4.0 model is going to be good enough, right? But not for level 2 and 3. Let me tell you, and most of the time I'm using 4.0. And you don't need to change the model. And guys, whether you're using the paid version or the free version, you have just use the model, the default model that it gives you. And I'll tell you what I use it for. So I have some examples. Okay, so first of all, before I give you some examples, here's what you should use it for. Everything. There's not a single thing that you're doing, anything that somebody could give you an advice on that you're doing in your life. It's bizarre if you're not asking AI if you're doing it right. It's bizarre if you're not asking AI, right? So every contract that you're signing, you should be uploading the contract to, in my opinion, you should be uploading the contract. You see that you could upload a file, get AI to review it before you sign it. Ask it questions, right? If you have a blood test, if you have a doctor's review, if you have an X-ray, if you have a sonography, if you have anything. So honestly, this is for my this is what I do. I'm not telling you guys what you do with your health. This is just what I do. Okay, I have I'm somebody that is very, very, very passionate about being healthy. So I don't go to a doctor when I'm sick. I go to a doctor when I'm healthy. I go to the doctor often, and I always get a lot of tests. I get blood tests, I get X-rays, I get sonography, I get so many tests, right, to make sure that I'm always healthy, right? I get and I used to do a lot of consulting with doctors to always make sure I'm healthy, and I could tell you that when I get my test results, when I give it to a ChatGPT, I get so much better advice and so much better understanding of how I am than any doctor that I ever talked to. And this is not just personal experience. Again, I'm not telling you what to do because this might have my recommendations could have legal. This is just what I do. Okay. I'm not telling you what to do. But there was a study that showed that when it comes to symptoms, they had some people that they knew what their diseases were, what their issues were, and they gave the symptoms to 3 groups, and they asked AI to come up with to try to recognize what's wrong with the patient. They gave it to doctors as group 1. They gave it to doctors using AI, and they also give it to the third group was just AI without doctors. Guess which group was the most accurate with the AI that we have today with regards to recognizing the issue? I thought it would be doctors using AI. It wasn't that. It was AI without the doctors. So the doctors was actually the weakest link. Basically they were the inhibiting factor. The AI without the doctors was better at recognizing the doctors using AI. I thought a combination would be better, but I was wrong, right? So just to give you, so let's say you're philosophizing. You could basically you're into philosophy. You could basically get the AI to be a debater with you and debate with it, and also get it to challenge you. As you know, that you have doctors notes, you have prescription, you could actually check the prescription. You could give the issues that you have to the AI with the prescription and ask. I got a prescription one time, and then I realized with AI that this doctor did recommended something to me that was not as good as something else, right? So when it comes to if your company's financial reports, you could upload it on AI and get it to analyze it. If you're studying scientific papers, like whatever level you are at, okay, this is not about people who are experts or people who have a basic understanding of things. If you are at an advanced level, you could upload a scientific paper and get it to cross-reference it with other studies and come up with a. Guys, if you want to get the best results, whenever you ask AI, you have to tell it the level of expertise you have, right? Because if you're an expert level, you have to tell it so it talks to you like you're expert. If you're not expert, you have to tell it that you're not an expert, so that it explains it to you. I could upload the most complicated scientific papers to AI and tell it to explain it to me as if I'm a 5-year-old, and it would dumb it down for me. Sometimes it will dumb it down too much. Sometimes it doesn't dumb it down enough, and I will just tell it like, okay, this is too basic. You didn't need to dumb it down this much. Or sometimes like, wait, I still don't understand. Explain it better, right? Or make it more simple, right? So what else? Investments, your personal investments, your personal financial situation, your budgeting. You guys understand how much more simple budgeting of your life has become because of AI? You don't even need to organize it. You could just basically turn. You see that microphone at the bottom right? You could just turn that microphone on and just keep unloading everything about your life, and it would turn it into writing, and just click send and just basically tell it to organize that. I don't even need to organize my thoughts anymore. You see that microphone at the bottom right at that chat of ChatGPT that I'm showing you on the screen. You just not that voice thing, because that's just basically live talking to ChatGPT. The microphone button, if you click that, you don't even need to write stuff. You don't need to give your budgeting or your financial situation in an organized document and give it to ChatGPT. You could just basically click that button and just say everything about your situation that comes to your mind, and then just press send and tell it to organize it for you. And then you could get that organization, you could copy it and put it in a Google Doc so that you have it. You know how a lot of people don't do budgeting because budgeting is complicated. They don't know how to do budgeting. You don't even need to be an expert at budgeting anymore. You could just tell ChatGPT what you spend, everything, how much money you make. You could give it your bank accounts. You could basically copy your bank accounts and give it to him. You could be like, I spend money on, and you could just talk to it, and it would just organize it for you in spreadsheets, in documents. And you could also, it gives you advice. It uses the most advanced and the best budgeting tactics or techniques for your personal life, and basically manage all of that for you. If you are having issues with raising your children, you could basically ask ChatGPT. It has access to the latest research in child psychology and best practices on how to treat your children. If you're having problems with your partner, if there's fighting inside your house, if you don't know how to de-escalate a situation with your father or your sister or whatever, right? If you're doing fitness advice, for example, guys, we're still at level 1, okay? I'm not talking about level 2 and level 3, right? So for example, I try to exercise as much as I can, and basically I'm trying to grow certain muscles, and I always have a problem with growing this muscle specifically here, right? So I don't know. I used to watch YouTube videos for advice. I don't really, even if I watch YouTube videos now, it's mostly for motivation because I want to see other humans doing the same thing. But when it comes to specific advice about whether or not my form is correct, but you could upload pictures of your form. You upload it, like, is my form correct? It will give you advice on your form. Like, no, your hand is in the, basically moving in the wrong, angle. Like, this is your, given that you're like trying to develop upper chest, the angle of your bench seems to be too low or too high or something like that. Yeah, so you could say, like, I have only this much time to exercise, so I cannot do these 3 exercises that you suggested to me. You could say, like, this is my time, this is how much time I have, this is how much I exercise, so you need to give me like the best one. I cannot do all these 3. So it says, based on your goal, it tells you which one to focus on, right? So all of this, I haven't even gone to O3. I'm still using ChatGPT 4.0. Most of the time that I use Chat o 4, at the end of it, just to make sure that it didn't give me the wrong advice, I switch to O3 and I say, fact check everything you said to me so far, right? So I'm not, because O3 is the reasoning model, so it thinks about what it says before it tells you, and it's slower. So to make it faster, I will stay on 4.0, but then at the end of everything that I'm asking, I switched to O3. I'm like, hey, we had a long conversation. Use O3 to fact check everything, make sure everything that you told me was right, right? And we're still at level 1. For cooking, for recipes, you could open your fridge, take a picture of everything you have. Like, I have this. Give me a recipe to make something with what I have in the fridge, right? And then once to make, and you're like, hey, okay, I see the recipe. Now tell me how to make it. Oh, you see the step-by-step process on how to make it. Now make me an image of showing the step-by-step process. I'm a visual person. Make me an image and that shows me how to do to make a visual demonstration. By the way, I also use Speechify, guys. Because I don't like right now ChatGPT's text to speech model is not very good because I cannot go backwards and I cannot speed it up. So I copy, if ChatGPT gives me a long text, I copy it and I paste it. I have a paid version of Speechify. I paste it on Speechify and then I listen to it on my phone on double speed, the recommendations that ChatGPT gives me. This is still at level 1, right? Let me see if Lily... Jack is saying, how about privacy concerns? Is it a risk to give too much data to companies? Well, you have already given them to companies all of this data. So I don't know. I mean, there's a risk associated with everything, but the data, like the data that I'm talking to you about, is already in your email. It's already in your bank accounts. It's already, so that it's already already out there. So I don't know, the level of security that ChatGPT had, that OpenAI has, is basically the same as all these other companies. So yeah, it's a risk that in the new era, in the new world that we're living in, the the risk of privacy issues is always there. But if you want to be too concerned about it, it's going to paralyze you. I mean, that's my opinion. And Amkai saying, which AI would be best in helping me come up with a steampunk story world for my business? Again, I use ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT, right? So let's go to level 2, because D was concerned regarding how reliable this is. Okay, and hey, AI still hallucinates. And honestly, like if I ask it for advice, tells me things that I could recognize that many times, that okay, this was good, this was wrong, this was very wrong, and this was something that it was so basic, and it should have known that I don't need this advice because this is too obvious. Like, it didn't need to tell me that, right? So what do I do to get better advice? And guys, when I say better advice, I'm talking about whatever goal you're having. Whatever your goal having, you're trying to become more fit, you're trying to become more healthy, you're trying to make more money, you're trying to have a better relationship with your husband or your wife, you're trying to date and you don't know how to speak to girls or boys, you're trying to, I don't know, become a better runner, you're trying to give a healthier diet to your dog, right? You're trying to understand if your dog is getting better, good exercise, you're trying to become a better painter, right? Or better whatever, pianist, better philosopher, better anything. There, again, if like the example I give, if you are a teenager in a village far away from the major city in Kenya, and you're trying to, you have an advisor, better advisor than most billionaires have, right next to you, and it could lift you up. That if that child understands that it could download ChatGPT and starts explaining its situation to it, and for ChatGPT to now give advice to it on what to do for her to become better equipped to be the best version of herself, that child will basically have the upper hand over every single other person right next to her. And here's the next level. Okay, so whatever, everything, single thing that you want could be described at you being in position A, and you want to get to position B. There is almost nothing that doesn't fit this basically simplification, right? Anything you want to do can be described as you being in position A, but position B being the ideal situation. Do you agree, guys? Everyone is on the same page? That is the best way to describe what is happening, right? So, how do we do that? How do we get the best advice from ChatGPT? The best way is to make ChatGPT understand A the best, and also understand B the best. But also, this is where you want to use the O3 model. So, again, if you're using the paid version, the way to use the O3 model is to, at the top left, do not click on that two lines, click on where it says ChatGPT, and switch it from ChatGPT 4.0 to the reasoning model that now we have access to, which is called O3. If you have the paid version, that's what you do. If you have the free version, to get to the O3 mini, at least, model, is at the bottom, there is a light bulb. You see at the bottom, there's a light bulb that says reason. If you click that, it will switch to the reasoning model. Okay? So again, depends on whether you're using the paid version. Paid version, you click on ChatGPT, then you click on O3. The free version, at the bottom, you click on the light bulb. As of today, tomorrow this might change the method, and you click on the reasoning model. Okay, so now you're on the reasoning model of the AI, and this is what you do. You go away from ChatGPT, you open a Google Doc or any Microsoft Word or anywhere that you could store data, right? The beginning. By the way, this is after, for people who don't use AI at all. Start first before you get to this level. Start using AI for all the other things that I gave you to mention to you for anything in your life, so that you could just get in the habit of using AI every day until you get to this part. Okay, you get on Google Doc, you describe your situation right now in one paragraph. We're going to keep it simple. And then in one paragraph, you describe what you are trying to achieve and where you're trying to be. So you give a description for A and you give a description for B. You keep this file, save it on Google Docs so you could refer to it. It's only one paragraph for each, but the goal is to eventually expand on both of them. This is too simple. To get the best advice from AI, at some point, I want to be able to describe the situation I am in, my limitations, my abilities, my resources, where I live, the people that I have access to, the money that I have access to, everything. Instead of one paragraph, I want that to eventually be 10 pages. And also, the thing that I want, and also at some point, should be 10 pages of explanation of where I'm trying to get. So you start with explaining A in one paragraph and explaining in B in one paragraph, but eventually you have to get to a major document that explains A and another major giant document that explains B. So you could get the best advice on how to get to A to B. You give this to AI, and here's the key point. But start simple, because if you start with that large document, you're not even going to start with just one paragraph for each. But when you give the first paragraph, you tell AI, here's where I am, here's where I'm trying to get. You don't ask it, what do I do next? Do I say, give me advice on how to do that? No. This is not where you ask it for advice. This is not where you tell it to tell me how to get from A to B. Instead of doing that, here's what you tell it. I'm trying to get from A to B. Ask me, ChatGPT, ask me 10 questions about A and 10 questions about B, 10 questions about the situation I'm in, and 10 questions about the situation, what I'm trying to achieve, so that you have a better understanding of both. So ask it for 20 questions. This is not AI for dummies. What I'm telling you is something that even the most advanced users of AI are not doing. I'm telling you, neither basic people or advanced people are using AI the way I'm telling you. And this is a game changer. Again, tell it. So let's say, for example, you want to advance in your career, or you want to make more money in the career that you're in, or in your university, and you're trying to get better at your studies, right? Or whatever you're trying to achieve, right? You're trying to be a better father, a better husband, a better wife, or better whatever, okay? Better anything. Or you're sick, you're trying to find the best way to cure the disease that you have, right? Whatever, right? So this is the phase where instead of ChatGPT telling you what to do, it will also, you have to, when in the paragraph that you explain the situation that you're in, also give a hint about your level of understanding, so it knows at what level to speak to you. So it will give you 10 questions for what your situation is. You answer those 10 questions as much as you possibly can, in as much detail as you can. And you also answer its questions regarding what you are trying to achieve in as much on those questions, as much detail as you possibly can. And then now the 2 paragraphs that you had, you tell it to give that back to you. Like, tell ChatGPT, we're still not asking for advice from it. We're telling it to ChatGPT to, now that you have a better understanding of what my situation and where I am, give me a detailed explanation of what my situation is. And it will give that to you. And now you will take that better documentation to the original Google Doc that you had originally, and you copy it there. So now you started from 2 paragraphs, and now you have multiple pages, or maybe 2 or 3 pages. So that document automatically became advanced, so that next time you're starting off from a better position. Now, at this situation, let me answer these questions. These saying, does it save your history if you make a budget or whatever? Can you later pull it up easily? Yes, it does. It does save it. ChatGPT just recently had that so that it has a long-term memory. However, because I don't know which model is going to be the best in the future, I when it comes to I try to store these in Google Doc. So eventually, when if I'm eventually switching from ChatGPT to Gemini, but by the way, because sometimes when I'm asking it to think about something, I want it to use a specific information. I don't want it to basically have a vague memory of everything that we talked about because it's not good at that. I wanted to keep copy and pasting this Google Doc every time so that it focuses on that specific problem, on that specific situation. Because right now it has a general memory of everything you talked about to it, but it's vague. I have to actually copy paste it from Google Doc to get the best results, right? So at this stage now, so now that ChatGPT has a good understanding of A and B, you ask it like, okay, give me, guys, make sure that the O3 is on. Okay, 4O is not going to give you the best results here. Now you ask it, how do I get from A to B using its reasoning model? And here's something. The advice that is going to give you here is not going to be as good. Here's how you fix it. So you give it a long explanation of what you want, what the situation you're in, and what you want, and it's going to give you an advice on what to do to get from A to B. And when you read it, you're going to realize, okay, I see some good tips here. That one doesn't make any sense. This one was too basic. I already knew that, and this one was completely BS. It's going to give you some recommendations, some good, some not so good. Here's the next step. You either start writing or you open that mic. You see that bottom right icon that you click on that mic and you go through its recommendations. So let's say give you a 2-page recommendation. You go from top to down and you read it, and then you mention to it which parts are good and how good is it, and which parts suck and why they suck. You give it a detailed explanation of why what it told you was not good or too basic or something that you cannot do at this time, but you tell it how good its advice is and for what reason. And then you send that to it. And now it has and you tell it to give you better advice based on the feedback that you gave to it on the first advice it gave you. And all of this with O3, guys, none of this is going to be as good if you're doing this with 4O. It has to be on the reasoning model. Now it's going to give you another 2-page advice. You're going to click on that mic again, or you start typing again. You go through its advice and you tell it, you go, why, which parts are good, which parts are game-changing and amazing advice, which parts are a demonstration of why it didn't understand what you said or what your situation is or what your capabilities are or what your limitations or what your abilities are, which one of them are too basic, which parts you don't understand what it said, and you give it advice. And you could basically keep doing this. But after, I think, round 2 or 3 or 4, it's going to give you an advice that is worth and is the best, some of the best human advisors. Like, you're going to get an advice that was worth hours of consulting with a consultant that would have charged you 300 to 600 an hour. That is pure gold. And this is only with the level of AI that we have today, and it's only going to get better. Do you understand? Guys, I'm telling you, people are not using AI the way I'm telling you. I even talked to experts that use AI, and I told them this, and they were like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm going to go try that. And by the way, guys, before you have any excuses to use AI, let me tell you, whether you're at the basic level or you're at expert level, okay? My father is a heart surgeon, and he's not just a heart surgeon. He's also an academic. He's a full professor in university in Iran. and he's 71 years old. So if you think like you're too old and this is a young person thing, if you think, oh, AI is not advanced enough for me, or maybe AI is too advanced for me, because I know children using this and I know experts using this, okay? And for medical purposes, for medical consultation, my dad, who has he not only has a specialty in heart surgery, he has a subspecialty in infant cardiac surgery, and he is a full professor, meaning that he has published many scientific academic research for him to actually become a full professor, right? So he's not just he's a genuine expert, and he's the only surgeon in Iran who has the subspecialty of doing heart surgery on infants, and he uses AI for medical consultation to for his patients on a daily basis. On a daily basis. All right. And guys, by the way, this is only level 2 because we have level 3. Let me see. Amikai is saying, by the way, Amikai, thank you so much for you've been amazing at sorry, I'll let you highlight it. You're amazing, lady. Thank you so much for highlighting and starting people's comments. Amikai is saying, does it also work for different sessions or only the current session? Right. So it has memory, and it also memorizes the thing more closely if you tell it to memorize something. But but okay, so for example, if you start this chat with it, right? I would not start a new chat and rely on its memory to wait. Hold on, let me see. Come back here. Okay, I would. So in the library section of the ChatGPT on the left, you could see its previous conversations, right? So even though it remembers your previous conversations, if if I wanted to specifically remember the previous sessions that we have had, I will basically use the same, go back to this. I save the link on my computer. I save the link of a specific conversation, and I would follow up on that same conversation so it has a good understanding of the previous. So, for example, let's say, for example, you want to, I don't know, you're trying to have a child. You want to get pregnant. Okay? You and your wife are trying to for pregnancy, right? And you're basically trying different supplements or stuff like that. I wouldn't, based on the level where you are at, I would keep updating the previous conversation rather than starting a whole new one, because it has a better memory and a grasp on the conversation that you had so far rather than previous conversations that you had. That or Google Doc. Like if I want to start a fresh conversation, I have stored the most important parts of our previous conversation somewhere else. I still don't I still don't trust this general memory of all our conversations. So I use Google Doc to copy and paste whenever I want to start a conversation from scratch. Right. Anyways, level 3. Okay. All right. So level 3, let me see. Oh, D is saying, does it recognize images? Can it identify plants or car models by an image, for instance? Yes, of course. Sometimes I'm walking and I pick up a leaf. I don't know why. I'm a nerd, I think. And I take a picture of it and I'm like ask it like, tell me what type of plant this is, right? So let's say your bike is broken and you want to try to fix it yourself. You take a picture of it. You're like, hey, how do I fix this? So yeah, it's really good at image recognition, right? Like I said, you could go you could take some things from the fridge and just put it on the table and take a picture of it. Like, hey, give me a recipe. Give me 4 ideas of what I could make with the food that you see, and then you choose one of it and you tell like, okay, give me the recipe. Right? It could do so many things. It could do so many. You could have like a rash on your skin, and you could take it again for legal purposes. Talk to a doctor. Okay, I'm talking. I personally, I'm talking less to doctors, but you could take a picture of your rash and be like, upload it, and like, hey, tell me what the hell is wrong with that. Or maybe you have acnes, and different acnes have different causes, and you don't want to go talk to a skin doctor. You could take a picture of it and be like, hey, what is the likely cause of this acting and how do I fix it, right? Again, every time you have paperwork, contracts, bills or anything, you take pictures of it, and we're like, hey, it reads it really good. Like, yeah, from its image to text is amazing. Every contract, like, whenever I'm going somewhere and somebody's put something in front of me to sign, I just take pictures of page one, take picture of page two, take picture of page three, upload it on ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to be signing this. What should I be concerned about? Like, is this okay? Right? And it's one time ChatGPT, for example, told me like, hey, before signing that, cross, go in page two, paragraph three, cross that part out, sign next to your crossing, and then after that, sign the whole full contract. And I did that. Right? So there's that. Like, yeah, so it's really good at image recognition, and it could turn it into text and stuff, right? See how worried should we be about the new Chinese AI? Honestly, I'm happy that we have I don't say this, but I am, when it comes to AI, more competition is good, and I don't want the American companies to be basically, I want more competition. Okay, I want more competition, and the AI Chinese AI models are, even though the apps that they're releasing is very sensorial, the models that they're releasing are mostly open source. So it's just increasing the competition, and when these companies are competing, we are the ones who benefit. So I am actually welcoming the Chinese competition very, very much. This is something that I actually welcome from China. Uh, I will explain level three very soon. Let me answer this one as well, and then I'll go to level three. Dr. Hypnosis saying, for asking it for detailed explanation about point A, do we do the same for point B? Yes, both of them. Both of them. You ask 10 questions for point A and 10 questions for point B, right? So, for example, you say, like, look, this is my job, this is how I make money, this is what my resources, these are my abilities, these are my limitations, these are this is what motivates me, this is the amount of time I have, here's a screenshot of my Google Calendar, here's what I do on a daily basis, and this is how much money I'm making, and my goal is to make this much money, but instead in this company that I have, or in this job, or maybe I'm trying to get a promotion. This is the work that I do. This is how my company usually gives promotions. This is the attitude that my boss has. I'm trying to, and my goal is to get this promotion. So you tell ChatGPT for in level two, you tell it, ask me 10 questions about the situation I am in, and also ask me 10 questions about the situation that I'm trying to, the goal that I have, so that it has a much better understanding of what you're trying to achieve. So yeah, explaining point B with 10 questions that ChatGPT gives you is also very important for this advice to be very good. But again, the first advice that it gives you, don't trust it. Tell it why it sucks multiple times until you get the actual best advice using the reasoning model, right? And eventually we're going to get all four, and all four, I actually don't know the name, what their name is going to be, but you're going to get better than almost any human advice already with this reasoning model that we have, if you follow these steps that I told you. Imagine if AI reasoning gets much more advanced than we have. I don't even know what type of advice we're getting. But it's amazing that we have already reached to a point where you're going to get better advice. Guys, the reason why many billionaires or millionaires or millionaires is because they have access to the people who know. And now you have access to people who know, for everything. For one person that knows everything, you have somebody in your pocket that has a PhD in everything, has multiple PhDs in everything, and also it could cross reference its expertise in the PhDs that he has more than anyone else, because people usually don't have PhDs in everything all at the same time. It has more access to more knowledge and more reasoning power than the vast majority of humans on earth. That is unbelievable, and you get it with no or very little money. That's unbelievable. Yeah, you have that. All right, so let's go to level three, because level three is where it gets crazy, in my opinion. Okay, so I used to say for that the future belongs to people who know how to prompt, how to give AI the best prompts. Okay, but that is not true anymore. This is not true anymore. You know why? Because we thought like, oh, if AI keeps getting better and better, then the people who know what to ask AI are the people who are going to be ahead, right? But here's and the this like you need to just become an expert in asking AI the right questions. But do you know why that is actually not true? Because when it comes to being an expert in coming up with the proper prompts for people who might not know, prompt is what you give AI, the question or the statement that you type. Hold on. That you type here at the bottom where it says ask anything, whatever you write there and then click enter, that is a prompt. Prompt engineering is the art of coming up with the best prompt to get the best result. And sometimes people actually charge you money to come up with the prompts that gives you the best results. However, that job is not relevant in my opinion anymore. Exactly, Jack gets it, because you could just ask AI to give you the best prompts. So instead of like asking AI something, you could ask AI, what should I be asking you to get the best results? So even when it comes to prompt engineering, AI can actually help you to come up with the best question, the best inquiry, the best prompt to get the best result. You could actually, before asking AI something, you could start doing consulting with AI about what exactly I should be asking. So instead of saying the future belongs to people who know how to prompt engineer, the future belongs to people who know themselves better. So what we actually have to do is just figure out the art of self knowledge and have an understanding of ourselves, which is basically four things that you have to recognize. And AI could help you with this as well, because if you recognize these four things, then AI could do the rest for you. AI could guide you, give you give you short. By the way, when you're asking for how to get to A to B, one thing I forgot to mention for level 2, you have to ask it to give you a long term plan, but also the next steps that you need to be taking. So it needs to draw you a picture, a map of, okay, from A to B, like let's say this is going to take 10 years or 5 years or 6 years. What is the long-term plan that we're having here? Give me a timeline for me, but also tell me what I need to be focusing on next. What's the next step that I need to be focusing my mind on? Okay. But in step 3, in level 3 that we're talking, sorry, not step 3, on level 3 is there's 4 things that you have to understand. And if you understand that, AI could do the rest for you. One, and it goes back to point A and point B. With regards to point A, do you truly understand the situation that you're in? Because you could tell AI that this is the situation that I'm in, but you actually might be wrong about the situation you're in. You might think that you introduce some limitations to AI, like these are my limitations, but it might actually not be your limitations. It might not be as unmovable barrier as you thought, or you might have underestimated your skills. You might have overestimated your skills, right? So we have taking one step back, because when we went from level 1 to level 2, we took one step back, right? So level 1, we asked AI to do certain things for us and analyze certain things to us, answer some questions, and we use 4.0 for that, and it does do good for most things. Level 2 was like, hey, let's step one step back, and instead of asking AI, turn on the reasoning model and first getting AI to get us explain our situation. Level 3 is like, hey, what if I don't even understand my situation? And what if I don't even understand what I really want? So level 3 is going one step back again. And basically getting, before you even explain point A and point B, there's 4 things that you need to get right. One is, do I even know my situation? Do I know my abilities? Do I know really my resources? Have I exaggerated in my own mind my limitations, or have I underestimated it? Do I really know the people that I have access to? Or maybe that guy isn't really my friend. Or maybe that guy that is my enemy is not much of an enemy at all. Or maybe I don't understand how my boss really thinks and operates. Maybe I misjudged him or her. So the four things that you really need to, if you want to get the most amazing advice, is to just have a better understanding of yourself first before you even start this process. This is level 3. So you need to answer these four questions. Do I really understand point A? Not one. Have I done a really good job in explaining point A? Right? 3, do I really understand point B? 4, have I done a really good job in explaining point B? So again, to solve this problem, you could go into a conversation with AI, right? So when it comes to what you want, many of us think, this is actually true, many of us think we want something, but what we want is actually something else. You could go into a psychological back and forth with AI. Basically, oh guys, we have a spammer. We have a spammer in the chat. Ooh, thank you so much, Nima, for removing that person. I should make D admin here as well, so that she could help. D, can I make you? Is it okay if I make you an admin? This guy is really butthurt. Anyways, let me do this later. Thank you, Nima. Nima, thank you for your service. You could go into a deep conversation with AI, basically talking to it regarding your current situation, regarding what your own psyche, your own emotions. AI is better, in my opinion, than most psychologists. You could, and also not just because it knows the best way to do psychological analysis on a person, give acts like better than any shrink, but it also because it has access to every single scientific paper on human psychology and the most recent ones. So you could tell it to become an expert, so that you could go into tell it that your job is right now to understand me, ask me questions, challenge my own assumptions about myself, challenge my own assumptions about what I want of life, and go through this conversation with me. And you could have hours of conversations with it, and it could challenge you, it could ask you questions, it could confirm, validate you, but it could also, ask questions that you might reevaluate something that you thought about is true about yourself, but it was not. And after hours of conversations about with it, eventually come up with a much deeper understanding of you in a way that you never understood about yourself. And then you could actually tell it to, okay, give me a detailed explanation of what everything that we realized. You could make it specific about you, on a specific issue. For example, maybe your relationship with your wife or your children, with your boss, or your career, or your education, or whatever. Or you could maybe want to have a better understanding of yourself in general. But whatever that result is, at the end of that conversation, tell it to give you a detailed report of what you figured out, and copy and paste it in a Google Doc somewhere, because you're going to need that, right? A lot of times we're chasing something in our life, and then when we get there, we realize that this is actually not what I wanted. This is what I thought I wanted, but now that I have it, this is not really making me happy in the way that I thought it would make me happy. Right? So a lot of people don't know themselves. A lot of people don't know what they want, and a lot of people don't understand that their situation. They think they do, because a lot of people think like, if I'm an expert in one thing, it must be me being an expert in me. But anybody that has any experience in talking to a good psychologist realizes how flawed that is. That how much we hide things from ourselves about our environment, about the people that we're with, about we're biased towards ourselves. Like every time if we're fighting with somebody, of course we think they're wrong and we're right. But if you have somebody analyzing the situation from a different perspective, you might come to a realization that actually, you know what, I was the a-hole in this conversation. Right? So, or maybe I didn't like, maybe the AI will help you see that, maybe like you think that your wife, if is being picky about something that she shouldn't be, But then if you explain everything about what has happened to AI, the AI might actually tell you some, give you the situation from the perspective of your wife that you didn't even, that even wouldn't have even crossed your mind at all. You're like, oh my, and you might sympathize with her in a way that you could have never imagined. I mean, eventually you will be able to install cameras all around your house and have microphones with you, so that you didn't even need to ask AI, and AI could be like, hey, your daughter is trying to get your attention in a very subtle way, and you're not realizing that. And like, oh my God, thank you. Like, hey, you get a notification. Eventually, on you're gonna get a notification on your phone, like your daughter, it was really hoping that you compliment her on this, and you didn't notice that, and you're like, oh my God, thank you for noticing that. I'm going to go and compliment her on that, for example. Right, but right now you need to feed it all this information to have, so you know yourself, right? And then that will make you be able to give the AI that you're asking advice so much data. And when you give it that much data, the result that you're going to get out of it, if you keep going through the process of keep telling it why it got things wrong, or why it's coming up to the wrong conclusion or giving advice, the more you feed it more data at the beginning, proper data, not just more data. So there's three elements here that will give you the best results: the amount of data you give it, how accurate is the data you give it, and how much back and forth you go through with it, through why the advice that it gave you was helpful or not. These three. So the accuracy of the data could be improved by having long conversations with it, for it to help you see things that you might have not seen before about both point A and point B. The amount of data you could give it can increase by getting it to keep asking you questions to give, so that you could give it more data. And then the back and forth, you could keep increasing the back and forth you have, the more feedback you give it based on the advice that it give you. The more you increase that, at the end you're going to get pure gold out of it at the very end of this process. Tell me, has anybody given you this advanced level of you? Again, the advice that I'm giving you is understandable by everybody. Like, this is not complicated. This is just having a conversation with AI. And you don't need to be a good typer, because you could turn on that microphone thing and you could just, it has very good speech to text recognition, ChatGPT. That's something that ChatGPT has that I haven't seen as good in Gemini and Grok, at least not in my experience, right? You could just basically open ChatGPT on your computer, bring your mic, and just sit there and just talk, and then click, and then talk, and then click, and then talk, and then click. And then if you're not good at reading, if you don't like to read long text, then I advise Speechify. Copy and paste all of that, put it on Speechify, and just listen to it. Listen to what it's telling you. If you're listening to it, I'm like, oh, I don't understand, this is complicated. Don't worry, just tell it. Just tell it, like, what you give me is just, I don't really get what you're telling me. And like, it will tell you, like, no problem, I will simplify it. Maybe it's too dumb, and like, okay, this is too simple. You could tell it sometimes give you advice like, hey, this is too simple. Do you not realize that I'm actually an expert in this field? Like, you have to tell it, like, hey, I'm an expert in this field. Why are you talking to me as if I'm a novice? I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Let me actually give you more advanced advice. Yeah. So Darko is saying not in every language though. So I talk to ChatGPT and get advice from it in Persian and English. I've realized right now I get better reasoning in English than in Persian, because it has more practice in English. I mean, it's not that bad in Persian, but I don't know. A lot of you have your first language is something else, but if you're good in English, I mean, it's still good. Whatever language you talk to it, it will still give better advice than the vast majority of humans out there if you use my method. But if you can't speak to it in English right now, it's better to speak to it in English. Okay, let me see. D is saying, how long before we can't spot AI images? This worries me. I would say never, because If humans can't detect what, if we get to a point where humans can't detect AI, what images are AI and what images are real, you know how we can solve that? AI. Because even if humans can't, AI can. At some point, at some point, images will be so advanced that we can't tell if it's AI or real, but AI would be advanced enough that it will be able to tell you if it's AI or not AI. So we will never get there because we will always have AI to help us with that. Okay. Mm, okay. All right, guys. Guys, this is I'm I'm not exaggerating. In my opinion, the advice that I gave you today was the ultimate advice on everything. Everything. Because whatever you could think of, that this video was an advice on everything. Because whatever topic, like, no, Armin, it's not everything. It doesn't cover this. Actually, it did. Because that topic, you could get better advice from AI than from me. And I told you how to get the best advice on the best advice on AI. The reason, here's the thing, it doesn't even make sense anymore for you to ask me or anyone else for AI because of the given the tool that I just gave you. The only reason why it makes sense to come listen to me or maybe other content creators is because we humans are really attached to other humans. We're emotionally interested in other humans, and we need that. We need to sometimes hear this from other humans because it gives us motivation to see. It gives us a sense of sympathy, a sense of understanding, or a sense of shared challenges and shared experiences when other humans are doing what we're doing and they're talking to us about it, right? The one thing that AI doesn't have now and will not have for a very, very, very long time is qualia, like the same qualia that we have, meaning that even if they could act like they have similar experiences with us, we know that they do not have the same experience that we have. So, and we care about that. We genuinely care about that. We want to the shared experience with other human beings is very, very important to us. And the reason why we still talk to we will it still makes sense to talk to other humans is because of that emotional attachment that we have with other humans. But other than that, when it comes to advice, it doesn't make sense to not ask AI. It doesn't make sense. Like, if you're not asking AI, I don't know what's wrong with you. What are you doing? Like, why not? Right? So let me see. Amakai saying, if we keep speaking with it in English, how would it learn to answer in other languages? Oh, don't worry about that at all. It's it doesn't need you guys to talk in English to in other languages for it to get better. It's exponentially getting better at everything without necessarily you helping it. Like, it's that should not be a worry at all. Like, the amount of data, AI is getting better faster with less original information. I mean, think. I mean, how a human child gets really good at the language that is speaking only if it speaks to its parents only. Like, it doesn't need hundreds of thousands of people speaking in a language. AI is getting faster with less knowledge, day by day. It's becoming the requirement of the original data for it to train on is becoming less, and eventually it will get to zero once it gets to uh, reasoning. Once it gets to perfect reasoning, it wouldn't even require knowledge to train itself. It only requires to understand the goal, and using its reasoning, it wouldn't even require original knowledge to train itself on. It will just train itself with trial and error. Okay, so let me actually make two admins in this. So thank you. Nemo is saying to make D and Darko admins. Yes, Nima. Thank you for that advice. Let me actually go make D and Darko admins because we have spammers here, especially Butthurt. So there we go. Let's make D. Oh, where is it? Why is it not letting me do that? Hmm. Oh, there we go. The oh. Guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm going to have a lot. The topics on this channel are going to be um, very useful. Like I'm not exaggerating. The topics on this channel is going to be a game changer for anybody who understands how the world is changing. So please subscribe. And if you like anybody, recommend this channel to them, because again, everything I'm telling you on this channel is going to be the difference between being ahead and being left behind, right? So if you care about anybody that you want them to also be ahead in their life, please recommend this channel to them, like this channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and also leave comments here so that this channel grows. And also tell me what you think about what I said on this channel. Also, if you have your own recommendations for how to use AI best to get the most out of it, let me know in the comments. It will give me ideas for future live stream. Punjabi saying, I asked Gemini about Punjab, then asked it to another AI, both told wrongly. Why? Well, I mean, when you say wrongly, you're saying they said it based on your opinion about. I don't know what specifically you ask. Again, I'm telling you. First of all, I don't know what you ask Gemini. Gemini is very woke. And because I ask it a lot of political and religion related questions, a lot of times Gemini answers me, gives me answers that I consider to be completely wrong. Okay, I get better results with ChatGPT, but when it comes to reasoning, if you want to get better results from ChatGPT, you have to use the reasoning model. So the ChatGPT 4.0 might be good for just access to general knowledge stuff that is not debatable. But when it comes to actually thinking about something and actually coming up with the reasoning about something before it gives you an answer, if you want to get the best response, you have to use one of the reasoning models. And the O3, for example, is the one that is the most accessible to most people right now. And again, even then, I told you I don't trust the results until I give it multiple feedbacks, right? All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. And again, remember, the AI right now is the worst that it will ever be, and this is just the beginning. So the recommendations that I have for you today might be different from the recommendations that I have for you um, in the future. So make sure you subscribe so that we could go through this journey together. All right. So, and again, let me know if this was helpful. Oh yeah, to motivate me, let me know if this was helpful in the comment section. That really gives me a lot more motivations to do these streams. So please let me know in the comment section. All right, guys. All right, I'm gonna head out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking the stream. Thank you for subscribing. And until next show. Bye. And thank you for Lily for highlighting today's comments, and admins and Nino and you guys for making sure that the spammers are not. Oh yes, dry hypnosis is saying 100% super helpful. Well, thanks. Yeah, it was helpful. You're always helpful. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. That's very nice to hear. All right, guys. Bye. Mwah. Don't forget to like.